morning. If I'm looking a little haggard, it's because I had 2 gigs in a row last 2 nights, and uh, not much sleep. So, I thought I'd do a fun little video since my mind is in, what would you call it? When you don't sleep as much for a couple days, you go in a delirium. Do a fun post, a little Scientology versus Illuminati. Conspiracy theory type stuff. I have some friends that and it doesn't change our relationship whatsoever. Belief is belief. You can believe whatever the hell you want to believe. I've had some, as you know, some fairly crazy beliefs before. Those beliefs have changed, but I'm open to other beliefs, which is great. I try to remain open to all things and attached to nothing. But the reason this comes to mind is because some of my friends talk about, the Illuminati and the presence of this, or very draconian set of sect of people in the upper echelons of high society that control everything. And so I wanted to point out 2 things that I've noticed over the past decade that are related to Scientology that may make you think about, I'll probably link this to my friends, make you think about the relationship between the Illuminati, if it exists, and Scientology, if it does exist. So the first thing that I really noticed was the movie The Master. I had not done any research on Paulette Cooper or I knew about the FBI raids, but I didn't know the extent of which Scientology, OSA, or Guardian's Office agents, how effective they were at infiltrating the federal government. It's the biggest infiltration of the federal government in history, U.S. history, for the purposes of defrauding the government. And they did. So, knowing that, and also knowing a lot of the training and the techniques of Scientology, and you throw in just that little bit of not Aleister Crowley, the rocket scientist that Hubbard used to hang out with and do satanic rituals with. Jack. I'm just going to call him Jack. Because we're talking conspiracy theory here. We're just going to call him Jack. Scary Jack. Satanic rituals, but he harnessed the power of rocket fuel. Make shit go into the space. Which the space program, is, do we land on the moon? Who knows? Is the Earth flat? I'm sorry. I told you this is going to be a wacky video. Fair warning. So, the first thing I noticed after The Master was made, I was actually surprised at how it was shown in such a positive way. And I did read that the guy who wrote the script and the director sent Tom Cruise a copy to approve, basically, because Tom Cruise was the authority on the church, and he had gathered information supposedly, and tried to present it in a non-biased way, but also an entertaining way. If you haven't seen The Master, it's I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend you watch something else about Scientology first. But they show some things. They show the training routines in the movie. It's more about a relationship between a guy and another guy, and some weird sexual relationships and tax evasion and stuff like that. Criticism, bigotry of the cause. So, on one hand, I think that the movie was good, but on the other hand, like as a movie, it was good, but it really has no real like representation of what Scientology is like. Nor does it have a good representation of what L. Ron Hubbard was like, which is what Philip Seymour Hoffman's character played. Now, the balls on this guy, if he didn't know how powerful the church was, to take on a role to play L. Ron Hubbard, he could have looked at it one of two ways. I think I don't give a fuck about Scientology. I'll play L. Ron Hubbard, sure. Or Scientology's fucked up, and I just got asked to play the role of the leader, and I'm gonna do the best job I can representing what I believe. Representing having integrity as an artist. And there's one scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman and gosh, what's the other actor's name? He had a bad time for a while. Not River Phoenix. Oh, that's bad that I can't remember his name. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix. I think that's it. Yeah. There's a scene where they're in a jail cell, and Joaquin Phoenix says, his character says to L. Ron Hubbard, screaming his lungs out in his face, I wish for once you would just tell the truth. Just once. Or say something, I wish you would say something that is true. And Tom Cruise, I don't think he approved that line. I think that was an improvised line. And anyways, the movie came out, medium success. Fair weather, kind of release. And not a year later, maybe a full year later, maybe 18 months later, but within 18 months, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who had been clean for, 12 years, maybe more, from heroin, overdoses on Vicodins and oxycodones. Let me tell you something. When you misrepresent a Scientologist publicly in a theater like that, you, one way or the other, whether you know it or not, in fact, you probably won't, because the OSA is very Secret Servicey. they have so much money that there are non-Scientologists working for them, getting paid, just like private investigators getting paid to hang around people, get inside certain social circles. That is what I did as a Scientologist, is get my way inside a very elite social circle. Getting inside an elite social circle is hard. Getting inside someone's normal social circle is easy. Making friends. Tom Cruise made friends with Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. All right. So Will Smith started a school, a Scientology school. You may not know that. It was not called a Scientology school, but it was a Scientology school. Him and Jada both read the study technology books and stopped right there, which was smart on their part. They're like, hey, this little thing I think helps. But you know what? Hey, if you think something helps, cool. Don't go join a cult over it. Like, if I think crystals will heal my body, whatever, but I don't spend all my money on crystals. I don't have, any kind of rituals or anything associated with crystals, but anyways, that's beside the point. Belief. The belief, you can believe whatever the fuck you want. So, Will Smith recently was tweeting about doing some shows with DJ Jazzy Jeff, which should be sweet. That's the person who he started his entertainment career with. Well, Jazzy Jeff booked 2 gigs, and I don't know if they've played one yet. He was interviewed, and he said, well, we'll play whenever Will shows up. Right after the press release that Will Smith was going to gig some more, Jada Pinkett Smith gets ousted in several publications for being a closet Scientologist. So what I'm proposing here is that if Scientology defrauded the government in the 70s, and by defraud I mean they infiltrated the IRS, changed records, replaced records, stole records, forged records, found inconsistencies also within the organization of its already corrupt people. They went into a corrupt system and they found corrupt things, and they also corrupted it as well. So they just made a big mess of it and confronted the IRS. And Marty Rathbun, this guy, I don't know what the fuck he's up to, but Marty Rathbun was a key player in that operation. And when Jeff Hawkins says Marty knows where the bodies are buried, it scares me to think, but it's probably true. Because they're messing with the federal government. And talking about taxes, Treasury. I mean, the IRS has access to the United States Treasury, Department of Defense. I mean, all this stuff. Limited, but still there. Um, Everything's limited in our government. Limitations of power. Um, so the IRS granted them, all they wanted was their tax status. So all Scientology wanted to do was the same thing the federal government was doing. And that's all L. Ron Hubbard ever wanted to do. It's like, I don't want to pay, I'm not going to pay your taxes. I want people to pay me taxes. Pretty much. I want them to pay me to live in my world. So there's a concentration of wealth and power in the west, on the West Coast, and on the East Coast. But Scientology is seems to be more like, at least from the social perspective, they're much more rooted in California and Florida. But I bet in New York there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Final thing. I'm just giving you food for thought. Courtney Love, on her 2000 and record in 2002, I believe it has Malibu on it. In her album credits, she thanks Scientology for saving her life. I mean, I was around the church, and there was no mention of Courtney Love. Marilyn Manson had been known to support Scientologists because he had a lot of Scientology friends. But so I imagine, Courtney Love had some mutual friends, and of course, the whole conspiracy that Courtney killed Kurt and all this stuff. Yeah. When you're talking about people dying, I feel like it's disrespectful, really, so I won't go into much detail, but I will say that when you're talking about conspiracy theories and all this stuff, like the shooting recently in Las Vegas, you can talk about conspiracy theories and stuff, but you do need to consider that there have been lives lost, and try not to disrespect the family's loss, because there's a period of grief that people go through, and I believe with the loss like Kurt Cobain, that's a lifetime of grief. That's a lifetime of regret, But anyways, that's a longer video than I thought would be. It's 20 minutes of conspiracy theory mumbo jumbo. Who knows? To wrap it up, what if Tom Cruise, one of the most powerful celebrities on the planet, is part of the Illuminati, and the Illuminati is affiliated with Scientology because of their massive real estate portfolio. I mean, they can go anywhere they want. They're completely secluded. They don't have to, it's like they're everywhere they are. They're their own private island. You can't get in or out. It's compounds everywhere, and there's some really rich and powerful people that are part of this. Google Jim Duggan. That guy is a pharmaceutical multi-billionaire. That's all I got for today. I'm whooped. I had 2 gigs. Had a great time. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.